Hi folks and welcome to CNB. I'm Siddharth Vinayak Partnkar. On the program today we've got lots coming at you, but first up it is the updated 5 Series sedan from BMW. Now of course we were the first ones to show it to you from Munich a few weeks ago, and at the time I remember telling you that not much has changed when it comes to the makeover. But the car is here in India, it is on sale. We thought we'll quickly run you through it and give you just a few of those details. Now as I said, when you looked at it, can't really pick up the changes. A little bit of detail here in the headlamp cluster that really is nice, works well, and looks fairly upmarket. Also kind of goes with this particular variant. Now there are 4 variants on offer. There are 2 diesel engines, 1 petrol. This is the top of the line 530D M Sport. Now that of course is more of a trim. It's not an M engine in there, but having said that, we can't of course wait for the upgraded version of the M5. Let me not get carried away or digress into that. But what you see is a slightly sportier profile on the bumper. You get the M badging along the side as well. And of course, this is a very potent engine that's under the hood, because what you have is 260 horses nearly and 540 Nm of torque. So this car can go. There is no lag. I have had a chance to drive it now, and it can really go. So interesting to see that there is some action happening yet again at that end of the market, because remember, Audi very recently just launched the 3-litre of its A6 as well, and so this 3-litre also driving in as perhaps competition for that. All right, let's move to a very humble end of the market from this. There's a bike that many of you have been wanting to see. We haven't had it on the program so far. This is the Trigger from Honda.
Honda has had quite a dream run in the 150cc motorcycle segment, with both the CB Unicorn and the CBR 150 dominating. But the only blip in that ride has been on its premium 150cc bike, Dazzler. And so its rivals, the Bajaj Pulsar 150, Yamaha FZS, Hero CBZ Extreme and the slightly more sporty TVS Apache 160 RTR have all cashed in. But Honda does not want to get left behind, and so it has brought in this, the CB Trigger.
So we managed to get our hands on the Honda CB Trigger, which is a replacement for the Dazzler in the premium 150cc motorcycle segment. Honda is desperately trying to regain some lost ground in this segment, especially with the Pulsar 150 and the Yamaha FZ dominating this segment so far. And to do just that, Honda has packed in new styling and features on this bike to make this more appealing to younger customers. So let's find out if this actually triggers an aggressive and sporty ride to it and justifies that higher price tag.
Honda has definitely worked on making the Trigger more aggressive than the Dazzler, especially with the bigger, muscular fuel tank, the arrow-shaped side panel and an all-black muffler. And what adds to the bolder appeal is the new front headlight with air scoops on the visor. Other elements include all-black alloy wheels, LED tail lights and a fully digital advanced instrument panel, unlike a few competitors who have stuck to a mix of digital and analog display on the instrument panel. All this might sound impressive, but do take a look at the competition and you will realize that the Trigger just about matches the looks of the Pulsar 150 NS and falls well short of the much better looking Yamaha FZS. But Honda has always scored over the others with its ride quality, and on that, the Trigger does not disappoint.
The ride on the new CB Trigger does feel quite good with smooth acceleration, and the bike is quick and nimble enough to wade you through city traffic. But out on the highway, it doesn't feel quite as comfortable, with the vibration starting to kick in, especially as you hit high speeds.
The top end of the CB Trigger comes with the Combi Brake System, or the CBS, which slows down the front wheel every time the rear brake is applied. Honda claims that this reduces braking distance by 32% compared to conventional braking, and that can really make a huge difference, especially while taking turns at higher speeds. The Trigger shares the same 150cc 4-stroke engine as the Unicorn, with peak power at 14 bhp and maximum torque of 12.5 Nm. The engine is mated to a 5-speed gearbox and the bike's claimed mileage is a decent 60 km per litre. Compare this to its competitors. The Pulsar has 4-stroke DTSI single-cylinder engine generating 14.86 bhp and 12.5 Nm, offering 65 km to the litre. On the Yamaha FZS, you get a 153cc 4-stroke 2-valve engine with a maximum output of 13.8 bhp and peak torque of 13.6 Nm. The claimed mileage is much lower at just about 51 km to the litre. Back on the road, the trigger seat is well cushioned and it's quite comfortable, especially on long rides. Even the pillion seat is nicely shaped and not too high. The backlit digital instrument panel is not too tough to read even in sunlight, and it comes packed with a speedometer, trip meter, fuel level and a digital clock on display. Also, the trigger gets a full chain cover, something that was missing on the Dazzler, a feature offered only on some of its rivals like the Pulsar.
Now, despite the smooth ride and handling on the new Trigger, there are a couple of sore points for me. One is the constant whirring noise that comes in from the engine, especially at lower speeds, and that really bothers you. Also, the riding stance, despite the muscular tank, continues to be a little boring and might not appeal to younger customers.
Another grouse we had was the poor quality of the control switches on the Trigger's handlebar. Come on, Honda, the Indian buyer does deserve more than this, especially for that price. At 67,433 rupees ex-showroom Delhi for the base model, all the way up to 76,934 for the top end, the Trigger ain't cheap. But it compares reasonably well on price with the rivals, around 69,000 rupees for the Pulsar 150 and 73,500 rupees for the Yamaha FZ7 top end. After bookings opened in April earlier this year, Honda has indicated a sales target of 80,000 units for the Trigger this fiscal. The company is not revealing the bike's sales performance so far, but we do think Honda could pack in more muscle in the Trigger to boost demand and really dominate the 150cc category.
Now joining us on CNB, a special person who is a friend of the show as well. Now you know him more as a bike guy, but he's all set to change that image a little bit, or at least add to it, by also adding supercars to that repertoire. In fact, he's going to be hosting a show on TV with that as well as the subject matter. But let's go ahead and welcome onto the show right now, Mr. John Abraham.
Hi, this is John Abraham, and I'm going to introduce you to someone very special in my life, and that's my Lamborghini Gallardo LP552. Clean lines. I got a color black, to make it simple and look like a Batmobile. I got these special wheels here, which are the Callistos. They go beautifully with the orange calipers. They actually match the orange seats and the orange lining. And of course, I've got this special inline 4 exhaust from Santiago, from Lamborghini themselves. And this is just the latest addition to the car. And of course, my special number 300. I love this number, so I have it on board. That's the Lamborghini V10 engine, and that's where all the power happens from. And like you see, it's a 2-seater car. It's a right-hand drive. So that's my car. That's the LP552 Lamborghini. And very special because I've always dreamt of a Gallardo, and I love this Gallardo. There's the 564 and the 574, but I like the 552. Means it's a 2-wheel drive and not a 4-wheel drive. 4-wheel drives are meant for women. 2-wheel drives are meant for men. So we decided to go for a 2-wheel drive and let the men drive, at least the 552. So outside of the bike, this is the next most exciting thing I have. And thank you for featuring my baby on this show. Wish you all the best. Bye.
John, it's great to have you here on the show, as it always is. And let me start by firstly welcoming you and asking you, what's the latest?
Well, obviously I'm busy with my films and doing a film called Welcome Back. And besides that, I'm busy with my babies, my little supercar and my motorcycle. So that's keeping me busy.
So tell me all about this new show that you're all set to do.
Being the brand ambassador of National Geographic actually was, the best part of this whole thing, because I love programs like Mega Structures and inside IPL, and of course supercars, and that's why we are talking about this. And I happened to see an entire show on Lamborghini, and I really loved it because it gave me, like you said, an insight into where a lot of supercars are manufactured and how they're manufactured, and a lot of them are handmade. And you know, the history behind these supercars was so very special. So I really look forward to this program, and I'm one of those few who probably even records it because it kind of gives me a nice historical backup data to know where all the different cars came from.
Well, I'll tell you what, you'll actually love to go to the Lamborghini headquarters. It's a wonderful place, Sant'Agata Bolognese. We've taken our viewers there on the show several times, but all the history, you walk into the plant, you know, it's a lot of that you really instantly pick up. So I'm sure you'll enjoy that visit.
Yeah. No, I've not been there to Santiago. I've not been there. But, you know, I was watching this program on the Lamborghini special, and it was on the Aventador actually. And it's shocking that the guys who actually build these cars have been building it, you know, second generation now. Their fathers used to build the cars. Now the sons are building those cars. I'm talking about the workmen in line, in the assembly line. So there's even a history there. So it's actually great watching each thing to understand that these cars are hand-built and handcrafted, and it makes it all the more, you know, Italians are passionate, and I love the way they really love their machines. So I'd love to go there. I'd love to go there.
Well, I'll tell you what, we've got to go together, maybe on the show, right?
Yeah, that's a given. Yeah, but would love to go there, Sid. We should plan a trip and go there soon.
So you're moving away from bikes in a sense as far as your image goes. Supercars now your new passion in a sense. How's your new Lamborghini doing?
Oh, well, I got her about 6-7 months ago, and she's a LP 552. So she's a two-wheel drive, because I belong to the old school that still believes that you know, to be a good driver, you need to handle a two-wheel drive. So she does a few tail spins because she's obviously 550 horsepower, and she's pretty intense. And if you see behind me, she's completely black, and I've got these special Callisto wheels ordered in for her. I've got these matte black exhausts which actually up her BHP a bit, these foreign lines, to about maybe another 10 BHP. And I love the orange calipers that exist on her, and the orange linings inside, because it kind of, you know, Lamborghini could easily very well be a bubblegum car, but mine looks like a Batmobile, so I'm very happy with her. So it's sad that the Gallardo is going to be replaced next year. I think, you know, there are a few cars that kind of appreciate with time in terms of equity, in terms of value maybe, I don't know, but I think Gallardo is one of them. I think it's a great car to possess, and it's a very easily drivable car. For all the viewers out there who'd ask me the most common question, how the hell do you get to drive this in a place like Mumbai or Delhi? Well, let me tell you, in Mumbai I go all the way to the Taj, that's the gateway of India in South Bombay, to the international airport, and the car doesn't touch any speed breaker because she's got a hydraulic button, so she just goes up. I go over the speed breaker, and that's how I negotiate my way around. So she's a great car, and very well behaved. Yeah.
Well, the new one is kind of around the corner. I remember the CEO sharing that with us on the program just a few weeks ago. And it is, of course, remember, the Gallardo, the most successful Lamborghini of all time. So this model is special to the company.
Absolutely, absolutely. And it's had a 10-year run, great. And I'm looking forward, and I'm excited about seeing what's up next with Lamborghini.
All right, John, let's talk about the other thing that you do, acting and producing. Now, Madras Cafe did pretty well. It got a good reception as far as the critics go as well. What's next on your anvil?
Well, after Madras Cafe, my next production will be a film with Nishikant Kamath, the guy who directed Force. And it's a film Amin again. And we have two very interesting films outside of that. And we're launching 2 new directors. So I'm very excited about that space. And then, of course, I have another film with Shujit Sarkar, who's directed Madras Cafe. And that's a film on football. So, you know, somewhere or the other, it's either sport or motorcycling in some way, or football that has to be associated with my life. And Sid, very important, we're developing a film on motorcycles, you know, on motorcycle racing. And it was pretty dominant in my mind, and I'm happy that we've played it up again, because I saw Rush. I was mighty impressed with Rush, and I think it's important that we make a credible race film in this country that's worth it. By race film, I mean a race film, not race 1 and race 2.
All right, that sounds pretty exciting. It's right up our street as well. But John, last time we met, you told me about this other project you're looking at with the Baja 1000 race in Mexico. Is that the same thing that you're talking about now, or is this slightly different?
Oh, it's we're actually there's a toss between the Baja 1000 and the Isle of Man, because the Baja 1000 involves cars and motorcycles and quads and ATVs. The Isle of Man, which is a little island in the Irish Sea, which has a population of just 80,000 people, has probably arguably the most dangerous race in the world, and that's purely motorcycling. So I'm more excited about the Isle of Man now, but I don't know where I'm going to land up with this. But at the end of the day, a story works if it's got a soul and if it's got great content, like you see. So if we have good content, then we can do a motorcycling film, a car film, a boxing film, any film.
Now, the thing with Rush that really worked was the fact that they managed to replicate, not just the action, but they replicated that era very successfully, even with the cars that they were, that featured in the movie. How are you going to achieve something like that, authenticity like that? Would you maybe look to work with similar technicians to the ones that worked on that movie, Rush?
Yeah, good question, because I'm actually trying to get in touch with the people who did the races in Rush to kind of get that in place. And, I really want to get in touch with, and I will get in touch with Ron Howard, because I need his inputs into understanding how we really conceptualize these races. And I'm very excited about that too. He's a very, very sweet man, and, very humble. And once I get an idea, then I'd like to put all the blocks together and build this film that I believe will have a soul, but at the same time also have the beauty and the visuals of an exciting race.
So lastly, John, I've got to ask you, as I always do, what are you eyeing? What's your next purchase going to be, or what's the next vehicle that's going to enter your garage?
Future additions to the, it's actually a very good question. The one car I'm interested in terms of supercars, I love the F12. I think that's a beautiful car. I'm very curious to know what Lamborghini has next out there. And I even like the McLaren P1, looks very interesting if you've seen it, and I like the way the LaFerrari looks. So that's where supercars are concerned. I don't know whether I could afford those cars right now. They're really, really expensive. But if there is something I'm looking at buying, I don't know. I think the Range Rover Sport looks like something exciting. I've been contemplating whether I should pick up one or no. So probably I'll take your inputs on it, and then we decide whether we go in for it or no.
Well, thanks for showing us your car. Good of you to join us as always. And next time, perhaps we go for a spin in it as well. And remember that visit also to Santagata. Thank you, John, for speaking to us.
Thanks, Sid. Thanks. Congratulations. Yeah. Thank you. Bye.
It is time for us to slip into a short break here on CNB, our sector snapshot. As we take that break, join us right after that.
Hi everyone, here's wishing the Karan Bike Show a happy 10th anniversary. It's been a great ride and wonderful to keep catching your program on and off, and I wish you all the best, another 100 years of that.
Welcome back to CNB. Now, another car that we've been wanting to show you for some time, and some of you have been writing in and asking about it. This is the diesel version of the Polo GT, so the GT TDI, if you will. Now, when you look at the car, there's not much that instantly tells you that this is a different Polo. Same problem with the GT TSI, which we have showed you on the program quite a few weeks ago. There is badging up here that says this is a GT. At the rear of the car, you get to see GT and you get to see TDI. So no Volkswagen and no Polo badging at the rear. So that's pretty much it when it comes to just letting you know that there's something different about this car. I have to say the GT badge up here in the grille looks really nice and eye-catching. But otherwise, you take a look at the car and, well, not really much that grabs you in terms of, like I said, this being a different Polo. And you'd like that, isn't it? You want sort of to scream out that, hang on, this is a more powerful, potent engine that I've got here. A few quick details on this car before we move on to another monster.
Polo GT TDI is a potent enough option to the regular diesel Polo, but unlike the Cross Polo, which looks instantly different as we just told you, the GT TDI doesn't. But the good news is that the 1.6-litre engine is potent. It's quick, responsive and agile. The downside is that the gearbox is 5-speed when this engine really begs to get that extra gear. A 6-speed manual would have been the better differentiator. The GT TSI is priced at just below 8 lakh rupees, but there you get the DSG automatic gearbox. The GT TDI is priced at 8,000 rupees over 8 lakh, and frankly, for the performance alone, that's not a bad bet. The top-grade music system and slightly swankier seats help, but if only this car had that extra edge in styling terms, it would be a sure winner. But we still love that engine, and for that, we give VW credit, and also for offering the Polo in so many variants now.
So what do you think of the GT TDI Polo? Let me know. You know how to get in touch with me. In fact, you can also post your thoughts on our second screen. So before we move on, let's quickly take a second screen question. This one coming from Ganpati about big bikes. Now you're looking to buy one of these, I'm guessing, Ganpati. So let's quickly talk about the ones that matter here. The Duke 390, everybody's talking about it. Very capable product and extremely aggressive in its profile and in its performance. It's certainly the bike you want to get if that's the kind of extreme performance and impression you want to make. So that's definitely it. But remember, that bike tends to heat up a little bit on longer drives. So if you're looking to use this as a commuter, you want to do a lot of riding every day, then it's perhaps not the most convenient option. You've got two other bikes there that do end up looking more convenient. You've got the Ninja, and then you've got the Honda 250 CBR. Now remember, the Ninja is a relatively new bike. It's the upgraded version. You went from 250 to 300 there. As far as Honda goes, that transition has happened globally, but in India, we still don't have that 250, the 300. And we showed it to you on the program just last week, in fact. So if you want to wait for it, the Honda is probably the best, most practical way to go. Otherwise, if you want that extra power, it matters to you to have the latest product, then go ahead with the Ninja. Any questions you have, please post them on our second screen. That's on the NDTV app on your smartphone or tablet. Now we move on to a car that I promised you on Twitter, and that of course is the limited edition C-Class, celebrating 10 million units of this iconic model.
The Mercedes C-Class began its life as the 190 family of sedans in 1982. That was the famed Baby Benz. That lineup was replaced by the C-Class nomenclature bearing cars in 1993, and cumulatively, the model family has now sold 10 million units worldwide. Yes, you heard that right, 10 million. Quite an achievement, and that too for a luxury offering. The limited edition that you see celebrates that milestone and is based on the existing 4th generation C-Class sedan.
So what do you get for the extra money? Well, the car certainly looks a little bit special, and that's because it's got the AMG kit thrown on, which means you get the extra side skirt. It starts to look a little bit meaner. You have the special edition C badging, which also tells people that you've got something different. The contrast black alloy wheels, pretty mean looking as well, and you know, it kind of goes with that image of the C-Class. Ever since this generation came out, it's got that rakish, very edgy sort of styling. Gets enhanced by that AMG kit because the bumper is sportier. You've also got daytime running lights integrated into it. A slight tint on the headlamp cluster as well, and two-tone black gloss and chrome contrast front grille. So certainly gets your attention in that sense, and perhaps to many will justify the extra price. But remember, the main point here is the big celebration. This car, or this edition, has been launched globally in a limited edition in most markets. Why is that? Well, of course, to celebrate 10 million units for the C-Class ever since its first launch worldwide. So, pretty big number, and so I perhaps think that a lot of you will agree with me, it deserves some sort of a celebration, doesn't it?
So what is that price? 39.9 lakh rupees ex-showroom Delhi. But with that price comes the satisfaction of knowing that only 500 units of this limited edition are being made. The car also has a sunroof, sport seats, and by the way, the seats as well as the gear lever, the door panels and the mats have a unique contrast stitching done in blue and white. Pretty cool. Other goodies like the Mercedes Pre-Safe, Attention Assist, 6 airbags, onboard stability related electronics, auto lights and wipers, and also parking guidance, things that you've seen on the C-Class as optional, are all standard here. The engine under the hood is the familiar diesel unit that we've been used to. It is agile and responsive and melded very well to the 7-speed gearbox. The car is quick and reasonably sporty, but then we won't go on about the performance because there's nothing new here. The limited edition features are mainly cosmetic.
Your thoughts on the Edition C, the Polo GT TDI, that Honda Trigger, and of course John Abraham with his Gallardo. Anything you want to react to, comment on, or any suggestions you have, please keep them coming to me. You do know how to get in touch with me. All those options are on your screen as well. On that note, it is time for me to say goodbye. I will see you next week with the all-new generation of the BMW X5. So that's something to look forward to on the program next week. Please wear your seatbelts, please wear your helmets, please do not use your cell phones when you're driving. Bye-bye.